Hey y'all, this is me. This is Megaboy37. If y'all haven't seen my face before, this is my face. I haven't shown it during the Multiverse series, if that's all you watch, but ignore the acne. But I just wanted to come on at the beginning of this video to thank y'all for watching all 29, well, 30 if you include episode 0 episodes so far, as well as watching this one, because this one is a pretty long one. I yap a lot. I want y'all to know, of course, season 2 starts on Monday, but I already plan on season 3, and I plan on season 4, and I plan on season 5. And we'll see if I continue after season 5. I've thought of a good conclusion to the story at season 5, but we're getting at least that far. And I also want to say that it's going to be a very long time. So I would love if y'all would strap in. Y'all don't have to, but if y'all want to strap in for the journey, most seasons will be about the same length as this one, but season 5 might be like 50 episodes. So just wanted to build some hype for that, and also thank y'all for joining me on the beginning, not the end, but the very beginning of this journey, not just for Total Drama Multiverse, but for YouTube in general. Alright, well, I'm going to let y'all enjoy the bonus video, and I cannot wait to catch y'all on Monday for Season 2 of Total Drama Multiverse. Hello and welcome to the bonus episode 30 of Total Drama Multiverse. This episode is, instead of being like a lore episode or a game show episode, I'm going to be ranking the 35 characters to make a major appearance in season 1 of Total Drama Multiverse by how well I think I handled them. Of course, this is only my very biased opinion, but yeah, the order we have them today is we have first, we're going to talk about Sen, Venom, and William, because I got some things to say about them. Then we have just some normal lore characters like Blake, Chef, Chris, Hope, Jones. Then we have our Season 2 characters that made appearances in Season 1, being Patrice and Sky. And then we have our villains, being the Head Scientist and Malik. And then after that, in alphabetical order, we have our entire cast for the season. So, yeah, we'll just get into it. I have no idea how long this will be, how much I'll yap, but yeah. So, oh yeah, and one last thing before we get into it. I will be revealing the season 2 title, like the actual title, what it looks like, because if y'all remember in season 1, the multiverse was part of Total Drama Multiverse was made out of letters from logos of all the different contestants, or at least a lot of the different contestants. Well, nobody. Oh, actually, that's not true. None of the people that are in the thumbnail, or that are in the original title of the thumbnail, are going to be in season 2. So I had to change that, and now it only includes characters from season 2. So if y'all can decipher who any of those letters are for and what the series are for, then I'll heart your comment and you'll get a shout out in the casting call on Monday. But honestly, a lot of them are pretty niche, so we'll see. And also that excludes you, Andy, because I've already revealed it to my friend Andy, so Andy can't spoil. But anyways, let's actually get into this. So first we have Sen, Venom, and William. I'm going to talk about them as a whole. Now, I had a few cameos this season, like for example, Owen cameoed this season. But I did not keep Owen on the tier list. I didn't put him on the tier list. Instead, I did put Sen, Venom, and William, and that is because these three, let's just say we're not done with these three just yet. But, of course, you won't see them for a while, but you'll see them eventually. But, of course, that won't be in Season 1, obviously. So, just ranking them how I used them in Season 1. Honestly, I think for Venom and William, it could have been better. I'm not going to say I didn't handle them well. By the way, all the tiers are self-explanatory. I don't need to really explain them. I don't think I handled them, like, crazy good, but I think they did their job. They were only here to be obstacles, cool obstacles. I think I will order them within the tiers. So I think I handled William a bit better than Venom. Venom was just a basic, generic guy, or threat. Not the guy. While William, I incorporated his spring locks and stuff. So I think that was, like, they both could have been better, could have had more. But as for Sen, I think Sen, I handled, I don't want to say pretty good, because again, they were only in one episode, these three. But I think I handled her about average. She was a really big threat. She kind of became the main villain of the episode, of the Tower of Terror episode, and I thought I handled her pretty cool. I don't think I used as much of her personality, as I did for later characters that we'll talk about. So I think, yeah, these three, let's just say someday they'll be a lot higher. But as of now, I think that's where I'm going to rank them. So then we get into the rest of our like staff and lore characters. First, starting with Blake. Blake was only in episode 12, episode 28, and episode 29. But I think he was good in all of them. Oh, and technically episode 1 as well. I think he was great in all of them, but he did feel like a little bit of just a plot device. But I think it was a good plot device, and also interns need to get more shown of them in the total drama series. I think that'd be cool. So yeah, Blake. I think I'll put him in. I'll put him in pretty good. Well, I'll put him in average, just because I feel like I could have done more with him, especially between episode 12 and episode 28. He was there on the island, but he didn't do anything until becoming a zombie in episode 28. So I think I could have done more with him there, but I don't think he was handled. Like I think it's fine. Then we have Chef. Now, Chef, I don't even know if I should include on this list, considering he died in episode 3, or episode 2 or 3, and yeah, I think it was episode 2. And when he died, he had not really had anything happen too much outside of his sacrifice, and he got brought back at the end of the season in episode 29. But technically, he didn't even get brought back yet because he hadn't put Chris hadn't put his reboot card in, which is still so funny to me. So Chef was honestly not even really a character this season. He was just there, but that's how he's been for the past 5 seasons, so whatever. But I think from what I used with him, especially with his army sacrifice, I think I'm gonna put him in also average. I feel like these 5 are probably the least utilized of the season, outside of maybe Patrice and Sky. I feel like everyone else just had bigger impacts than these 5. But I honestly, now that I'm looking at this, I might be able to delete the didn't handle well tier. I'll leave it there for now because I think I genuinely handled pretty much everyone, at least to the could have been better tier. But then we'll talk about Chris. And I'm saying it right now, I handled Chris in this season better than Chris has been handled since World Tour. Chris has had his maniacally evil side, right, for a very long time. And that's kind of become his whole personality. And because of that, it's toned down in the reboot, but I think that's partially due to his new voice actor. But I think I gave Chris, not only is he a major part of the story, right, despite not being a contestant, he's one of the biggest characters in the story, at least the non-game show side. But I think he even in the game show part of it, he had his stuff with Peely, and he also just seemed like he was a lot better than Pacateo, All Stars, Revenge, or the reboot seasons. He was there, he was present. He wasn't just the host. He actually mattered. And I think I really liked how I handled him, so I'm gonna actually put him in handled great, personally. Also, yes, this video is pretty much self-glazing for 30 minutes. But then we have Hope and Jones, and I want to talk about them together. These are obviously characters. Chris and Chef are obviously coming back. Blake we'll see, and I've already hinted at Sin, William, and Venom. Hope and Jones are going to be characters throughout the entire series, right? I mean, as y'all know from the lore at the end of episode 29, Hope and Jones, their daughter, is literally competing on the game show. And also, they are the ones who did Reality 37, all that stuff. So they're going to be very important. But I think this time, I'm going to put them in pretty good, both Hope and Jones. And they're about equal. I think Jones got a little more than Hope, especially with his going behind her back and getting Sky. But I think they obviously didn't have as big of a presence as they probably should have. But I think every time they appeared, it really was good. And I think honestly, I probably handled Hope and Jones better than at least Jones has been handled in the past chapter and a half of the Fortnite storyline. So yeah, I'll put them in pretty good. They're definitely not done. We'll see them again, and maybe they'll get higher later. Okay, then we have Patrice and Sky, and actually I'll talk about them one at a time. We'll start with Patrice. Now, one thing I will say for both of them is that it's kind of unfair to put them here because they're literally both competing on the second season. And that's not to say that nobody from the season 1 cast is coming back for season 2. But they're at least those people competed in season 1, which, by the way, I'm not revealing who the people that are returning from this season to next season are. I'm not revealing that until Monday with the casting call. But Patrice and Sky, I think they both still had really good, I want to say arcs, but really good character development, even though they were not in a lot of stuff. I think we'll start with Patrice. She was only in episode 28 and 29, and she was mainly used for 1, Luz's arc, and 2, Green Shadow's arc. She's with both of them. Luz obviously with her whole friend making thing, saving Patrice to make or sacrificing the money or the wish, I mean, to save Patrice, and then becoming friends, I think, and it was good. And then her and Green Shadow's reuniting was good as well. But Patrice obviously didn't have too much in episode 29, especially. She didn't really do like anything outside of whenever she almost died, and then Green Shadow saved her. So I think I'll put her an average above Chef. But she definitely will go up later. Then we'll go to Sky. I actually think I'm going to put Sky in pretty good. And the only reason I'm not putting her in Handled Great because she literally had one episode, but the only reason she's in pretty good and above Jones and Hope is this is probably outside of the head scientist, this is probably the most original character I have. And the head scientist is kind of not even like, he's pretty generic. Not gonna lie, we'll get to him though. And he's about to not even be an original character anymore. As you saw with the post-credit scene of last video where he became Zomboss. But with Sky has been a Fortnite character since the season I started playing, which was in 2020. But she didn't really have a personality. Like she wasn't really that big of a lore character. She worked for Midas and stuff, but she wasn't really that big of a lore character. You could tell that she was a gamer. She was definitely like into cutesy things. But I think that we really didn't know much about her. Plus, I gave her the whole 0 point storyline, which we are definitely like with her 0 point powers, and being able to freaking take a blast to the face from a 0 point shard, which we're definitely going to get into next time. But I think overall, in the one episode that she was in here, I handled her pretty well, and I think that it's really good considering that it's a character that wasn't even a character. She had no personality. She was just a person that existed. So yeah, she as well will probably go up, but for now, Sky stays in pretty good. Then we have the head scientist. Now, the head scientist, I'm going to put in... Should I put in great? I feel like with the head scientist, he feels a little generic for me, but I really liked the way I took him, especially in the end, with his whole thing with Chris. Him and Chris's rivalry throughout the entire season, I really enjoyed. I think I could have handled him better in like the first and second episode. I think was a little rough for him. But yeah, I think I'll put him in handled great overall. I liked him, especially in the end with his fight with Chris and getting bit by Blake. And I think, oh yeah, his whole thing with Agatha and Malik was also good, which we'll get to both of them in a second. But I don't know. I think he's a good villain. He's the only real original character, even though now he's Zomboss. And we are not done with him just yet. I'll say that. I'll say that for all these characters up until we get to the main cast, because then I'm obviously not going to spoil, because some of these season 1 characters might not come back till season 5, but they'll still come back. But some of these characters will never come back. Like, you know what, I'll say one that won't ever come back, at least as a contestant. Trump will never come back. What's another one that will probably never come back? Actually, I don't want to spoil anymore. But like, that's an example of a character who's probably not going to ever come back. As a contestant, at least. A lot of people will come back as lore characters or as different things like that, especially in the later seasons, with what I have planned. But talking about the actual scientist, I think I handled him pretty great, but not as good as Chris. Then we have Malik, our last character before we get into the actual cast of the season. Now, with Malik, I think I'm going to put him in average, because I think I played it really safe with Malik, and that's because... Here, we'll put him, like, right here. Also, I think I should put Chef, like, here. I don't know why I put him ahead of Blake and Sin. But, well, yeah, I think that's fair. But I wasn't actually planning on adding Malik. I actually had a whole different plot line that I planned on doing, and then I changed it with episode 12, because the characters that I was going to use, I decided not to use. For being a little controversial. So I pivoted to Malik and Agatha and all that, because I've been really into Dark Deception recently. And we'll get to Agatha, because I have a lot to say about her, but for Malik, I think I played it incredibly safe. One thing I think I could have done better with Malik is definitely making him hinted towards in episode 12. I think that would have been a post-credit scene in episode 12 would have been very good, which was the lore episode, by the way. That was peeled. And I think, yeah, like a thing of him and the head scientist interacting would have been very nice. But I still think in the episodes he did have, especially when he had a greater presence in like episode 27, episode 29, stuff like that, I think it was really good. But I'll still put him in average. Okay, now we've actually entered our 23 contestants of the season. But obviously we still have the person who didn't join until halfway through, which is Agatha. These are all just in orders, but she happens to be first. Now, Agatha is a weird one for me. If we're just talking about, if we ignore who Agatha is, if we just treat Agatha as if I made this character up, right? I think we could put her, probably in here. Maybe like here. But what I have been thinking about this entire season is because I pivoted into Dark Deception literally like 2 days before I was making that episode, Agatha was my best option, but still not a great option. Now, I'm sure this doesn't affect a lot of y'all, because I doubt a lot of y'all have played Dark Deception or even know what it is. But Agatha is not like how she is in Total Drama Multiverse. She's probably the least accurate in Multiverse to her real game counterpart. She would never become friends with anybody. She would just want to kill everyone. She's a demon child. She would. So I had to make up the sympathetic arc. And while I think it went well, I think that it could have, I could have made her at least a little more sadistic, which I kind of did with her killing Malik. But she, in actuality, she is loyal to Malik. She would stay on Malik's side no matter what. So I think with Agatha, I changed her a little too much for my liking. But I will say that the other thing that I think could have been better was her and Monica. I think their friendship could have been a little more fleshed out instead of just being like, oh, we're friends now. Now Agatha votes with Monica. Because, not gonna lie, that was one thing that I needed, is I wanted Monica, obviously, to make it really far. I wanted her to make it at least to the final, too. More on her later. And, obviously. And, I think Agatha was a good way to do it, I guess, but again, it could have been better. Which is why I'm actually going to put Agatha in could have been better. Which feels weird, because I have Chef above Agatha, but this is about this isn't how I'm talking about, like, just how I liked them in the season. This is how I handled them. I've been yapping. I just realized we've been going for 20 minutes, and I've just hit the main cast. I need to go faster, but we should be able to with some of these characters. So we'll start with Applejack. Applejack is here as a joke. I obviously, when I was really, really young, was into My Little Pony. And because of that, I decided to use Applejack, which wasn't my favorite character at the time. That was the rainbow one, Rainbow Dash. But I chose her because I could, Cowgirl. I mean, the very next character is Cowgirl Ashley, Cowgirl Applejack. I wanted to do some stuff there. But I think with Applejack, I don't obviously remember too much about her because that was a freaking forever ago. But I think I actually handled her really well. You got her thing with Kissy, with Ashley, with Peter, with Tails. I think Applejack was a really good pre-merge not loose cannon, but drama starter. Her and Ashley's drama was really good on that team. So I think I handled Applejack the best I could have for a character that I haven't actually watched anything from in like a decade. So I'm actually going to put her in pretty good for what it is. Obviously, she doesn't have as much to her as even Agatha, for example, or Patrice, or even actually not Patrice, but Malik maybe, because she didn't really do too much. But Hope and Jones, for example, but she's in the same tier. In fact, I won't put her that high, but I think I handled her the best I possibly could have for who she is. Then we have Ashley. Ashley from this Venture Camp, I think I handled better than they did in All-Stars, and that's because I loved Ashley in All-Stars. She was really good, but she forgave Jake, which I thought was stupid, so I made her, obviously, that's a part of the thing with Applejack and Ashley, I made her not forgive Jake in this timeline. But she was one of the biggest strategic players. She was easily the most strategic player outside of maybe Dipper, who we'll also be getting to in a second. And I think Ashley realistically probably goes here. I really liked her. We needed, she was kind of a little more jadey, because she wasn't in too much drama outside of the whole Applejack thing, especially in the merge. She was mainly a Jade from this Venture Camp, I mean, by the way. She was a little, I think she was a little more strategic than she was originally, but I think that definitely worked well because we didn't have too many strategic players, especially in the merge. We didn't have a lot of strategic players. We had a lot of either really nice people or people like Elmo. So and stuff like that. So I think I'll actually put her at the top of the pretty good tier, maybe even low handled great. So Then we have Dipper, and Dipper is interesting because at the beginning of the season he had his whole drama with Jinx and or not well, I mean kind of Jinx, but mainly Jax obviously being his friend and Fritz and freaking Monica, Zukio, stuff like that, which I thought was handled pretty well up until when a lot of those people had been eliminated and it was just him and Fritz. I think that got dragged out way too long. I think Fritz was just kind of there and Dipper was hating on him. There wasn't too much substance to that throughout a lot of the mid-season. But after Dipper locked in near the end of the season, I think I actually made him a little villainous, which I think isn't like him too much. But I'm still going to put him... Should I put him in Handled Great? I don't know if I should put him in Handled Great, because the villainous part definitely drags him down a little bit, but I think I'll still put him at the bottom of Handled Great. I really liked his flipping thing and then getting eliminated after the people who were getting flipped on the whole time realized what was happening. I think that he went through the arc that I want Logan to go through. Again, in this Venture Camp. I don't know why I keep referencing that show, but... yeah, no, Dipper was definitely handled pretty well in my opinion. I think he was just a little too villainous in the second half, and also his thing with Fritz was dragged on and on and on. So then we have Trump, and Trump is a very interesting one. You see, with Trump, I planned on Trump originally making it a lot farther and being a real strategic player. But not only did I kind of set him up to be a weak, frail old man, which was kind of the joke, too well. But I also got Peely out a lot earlier because I had a shift in what I decided to do with the season, which I think was actually a really good idea, which we'll get to with Peely. But also with Trump, it's just Trump is so controversial. When I made this cast, I wasn't really thinking about that. A lot of people really hate Trump. I mean, there was a person who, and they're obviously allowed to say this, just for trumping on the cast, they decided not to watch the season, which is fine. I obviously didn't put any bias or anything. I mean, he was eliminated third, but y'all seen what's been going on recently. I don't really want to share beliefs like that, especially not now. So I decided to pull him a lot earlier. That, along with he's on an island full of mainly kids, and what's been going on with the Epstein files. So yeah, I decided to pull the plug on Trump really early. He was originally going to have a role in episode 29 as well, but I decided to scrap that. That's again why I said I'm kind of trying to make Trump. They even moved realities, not because of that. That's not. They were already going to, but Trump is pretty much done. He was going to have a lot bigger a role, but I think it's just not a smart idea. And also, it's there's better arcs I can do with other people than Trump. So I decided that I think, you know what? I'll say it. As much as it could have been good, I think I'm gonna put Trump and didn't handle well. I feel like what I would have had would have been, in my opinion, in the pretty good tier. But it's just, I think I kind of erased him from existence from the storyline, and because he was a big contender before I was even thinking about that. He was a big contender, or not contender, but character in episode 1 and episode 2, and episode 3 as well. But then I slowly was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. So I slowly started making him have less of a role and then getting out in a non-dramatic elimination. Yeah, I'll put him in the didn't handle well tier. Then we have Elmo. Elmo, I think Elmo could have been better. We'll put him there. Yeah, Elmo could have been better. He was obviously the first Boo, which I think was fair. But when he came back, I think I imagined him being a lot bigger of a threat and a lot bigger of a character than he actually ended up being. He kind of just turned into a Eva that lasted a little longer and was a lot funnier. Where he just was he just vowed revenge on his team, even though he barely even got one or two of his original teammates out. So I think Elmo could have been handled a lot better. He kind of just fell into being with Ashley and with Dipper and with in that whole alliance, and when that fell apart, he was one of the first to fall. So yeah, he didn't really do much, even in his comeback episode, which I believe was episode 14 or 15, I don't remember. In the comeback episode, he didn't really do much, just kind of got lucky. So yeah, I think he could have been handled a lot better personally. Then we have Ezekiel, and I think Ezekiel, was handled pretty well. He had his friendship with Toph. Actually, I'll put him in average. I think he can go at the top of the average. He had his friendship with Toph, which I think would have been very funny to watch, and I think that was handled pretty good. But he didn't have too much outside of that. He, of course, had his thing with celebrating not being the first boot. But he got obviously voted out in the double elimination, but that wasn't really him that decided that or made any big flashy moves. And then after he got eliminated, I think Havoc Hunting, which was the episode where Scary Girl and Ezekiel came back to hunt the contestants still in the game, I think that challenge could have been handled a lot better, and that goes for Scary Girl as well, especially with him trying to help Toph, because he tried to help Toph, but then Toph just got eliminated immediately by Scary Girl anyway. So I think that episode in general could have been handled a lot better. One of the ones that probably needed the most work out of the season. But overall, I think we're obviously not done with Ezekiel. He came with him and Scary Girl Lauren came with Chris onto the new island. So we're not done with either of them. But yeah, I think in season 1 alone, I handled him pretty average. Okay, now we have Fritz. Fritz, aka Foxy, aka Captain Foxy. Now, when it came to picking a FNAF rep, I was really split. FNAF is my favorite franchise of all time, even over Total Drama. I love FNAF, and I really wanted to do it right. I had so many ideas. One of them was William Afton, but I felt like that was too evil. Another was, especially when I already had like Jinx on the team, which I thought, her whole thing was going to be that she's the most evil one on the cast. Another one I thought of was Freddy. I thought of Glamrock Freddy. I also took into consideration Grim Foxy, since Grim Foxy is my favorite FNAF animatronic based on just looks and stuff. I went through quite a few animatronics. I even considered Roxanne as a joke for a little bit, or not as a joke, but at first as a joke. Then I was like, wait, that could actually kind of work. But I ended up going on Foxy, Captain Foxy, just because I wanted him to have a little bit more flair to him instead of normal Foxy. So the captain part's just kind of there for extraness. But I really wanted to go with one of the 5 missing kids, and I just chose Foxy because I feel like he's the coolest of them, because everyone thinks that. But overall, I think I handled him pretty well. I think the hacking his brain happened a little too often with Jinx and Dipper and Monica all having stuff about that at some point or another. So I think Fritz, I think Fritz could have been handled better in that department, but I think also with the Dipper storyline being dragged out a little bit. But I think, and another thing, Monica and Agatha's friendship with him felt a little forced, not gonna lie, throughout the season. Didn't feel like they'd have too much in common in actuality, except for the fact that Monica helped Fritz, and Agatha obviously likes scary things. But I think Fritz I'll put him in average as well. Average is going to be pretty full. We'll put him right here. Well, I think Malik was a little better. I just feel like he didn't really make a name for himself in the merge, despite making it pretty freaking far into it. So yeah, I think I'll put him about smack dab in the middle of the list. Well, I think he goes above Malik, actually, now that I'm thinking about it more. Okay, Green Shadow. Green Shadow is like Kissy, where she didn't make it far at all. I'm pretty sure she was within like the first 5 or 6 boots. But dang, did she have a lot of lore outside of that. She obviously mattered quite a bit in all the lore sections of the early episodes, and also mattered in episode 12. But then especially with the PVZ reality becoming such a big focus, and her thing with Patrice, her whole thing with Jax and Kissy being in the Poppy Playtime reality, that she had a lot. She had a lot of stuff even while she wasn't in. But when she actually was in the game show, she was really just Marcy's friend who happened to be a pea shooter. And the reason I even did that was just because Marcy shows interest in plants in one episode. So I feel like that was a little boring. She was really boring while she was in the game show, but really good while she wasn't. But overall, I think I'm still going to put her in the pretty good tier. I think she goes probably, especially with her whole thing about not being able to save anyone. I think that was handled great. So I'm actually going to put her, I'll put her right here. That might be a little high. We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. I think that's good. Then we have Azuku. I think Azuku was handled pretty well. I think, and we'll talk about this with Monica too. The worst part of Azuku and Monica for me was the very beginning of their love story. I think that was not done well. That first like 3 episodes of it, but once Monica started having feelings back, I think it's when it got really good. Um, but definitely with like the Zuko thinking Monica's hot thing was kind of not that good. So outside of that, he was obviously the underdog who got picked on a bunch by Jax and Jinx and Monica at first. But I mean, he was good. He definitely was kind of like a trend for me. Where the girl gets a lot more focus, but he's still a good dude. Of course, he had more of an arc than Trent did, but he gets out a lot earlier than you would expect him to get out. Because I mean, he made Merge, but he didn't make it that far past Merge. Like he's been gone for like almost a month now in real life, which I make 3 episodes a week, so that says something. Um, so I think Izuku, and then actually after he got out, he still had some stuff. Like he came back whenever Monica was genuinely tweaking. He came back and calmed her down. He obviously has Monica and Agatha now in his reality, which will come in later, a very long time from now, but it will. He did come back in. He was kind of in episode 28, and he obviously came back in episode 29. But kind of like Star and Peter, which we'll get to later. He didn't really do much despite coming back. It was mainly just to give everyone stuff to do while I could actually talk about well, it was to give everyone stuff to do while and also give Jones an excuse to go get Sky, and also let me talk about Dipper and Agatha getting Kissy and Green Shadow. But overall, I think I handled Izuku pretty well. I'm gonna put him in pretty good, but I'm gonna put him at the very top of pretty good. Actually, I think because of those first few love story episodes, I'll put him in just behind Ashley in the pretty good tier. So yeah, that's where I'll rank him. Now we have Jax and Jinx, and I'm actually gonna do these two at the same time because these two were the assholes of the season, and I feel like they became such assholes because I didn't know what to do with them very much. I think we'll talk about so with Jax, I mean, he had a little more to him than Jinx did. Jax's thing with Dipper, I think could have been more fleshed out. But I think that it definitely works with like the whole Ribbit thing in the actual Amazing Digital Circus, but of course, episode 6 didn't come out until after he was out of the game, episode 6 of the Digital Circus, where if I had known that, I would have changed Jax into, or in the way he acted with Dipper. I feel like that's a little unrealistic now, but at the time, I think Jax was a little bit better, but of course, he just suffered a little from only having 5 episodes to his name. Then again, actually, I can't say that. That would spoil 2 of the characters for season 2. Well, Jinx. Actually, let me put Jax in here real quick. Jax can go. Again, this average tier is going to get filled up, but I think he can go right here. Just average. And also, I think Chef probably. Well, no, I think Chef is like bottom of average material. Yeah. But Jinx, she really became the asshole because I couldn't have her like killing people unless we were in an episode, because One Up Mushrooms hadn't been a thing yet, so unless we were in the VR episode, I couldn't really have her killing people. Her insanity stuff was, I just didn't tap into as much, which I think I should have. And I never watched season 2 because there's apparently a scene with Vi and Caitlyn, which I don't want to watch. I already almost quit the show after the first one of those scenes with forgot their names, but the white dude and the black girl, I really forgot their names. But I still really like Jinx's character. I like Jinx and Vi a lot. And I really needed a chaotic evil girl that was darker than Scary Girl. Because I didn't want to use Scary Girl for that because I wanted to use her for other things, especially later. So Jinx, yeah, I think she could have been handled better. That's where I'm gonna put her. She can go right. Honestly, here. I feel like Venom is almost in the didn't handle well, but Jinx isn't. Because Venom was just kind of there. I think I did. Well, yeah. No, never mind. To give benefit of the doubt, I think I did make use of his fire weakness with Luz and Marcy's fire glyphs. I'm pretty sure that happened, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Then we have Kissy. I think Kissy was handled. I don't want to say great, but I think she was handled really well. She's probably the first boot that was handled the best, or the early boot that was handled the best, I should say, outside of Peely. And that's because she had a lot that mattered to the plot while she was out of the game. But even while she was in the game, she affected a lot of things. She of course had a bunch of drama. I think I'm actually let me just put her over here. You know what? I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these two up here and then do that. I think that looks better. Yeah, that does look better. Yeah. But she had her, she affected that entire team, really. She affected Luz, Star, Applejack, Ashley, even Peter and Tails to an extent. I'd say she was a huge ripple effect on the entire season. If it weren't for her, I mean, the stuff with Ashley and Applejack would have been different. And Luz would have gotten out way earlier, probably. Or, I mean, not Luz, Peter. Peter and Tails would have been cooked because, obviously, they would have had that all-girls alliance. If that didn't fall apart, it would have been a huge difference if it weren't for her being a glass cannon and freaking out and obviously like killing Star, freaking out Applejack, stuff like that. So I think, and then she mattered a lot in the lore episode 12, with her freaking out. That mattered. That gave upper hands. And then she, of course, mattered in episode 29. Not too much, but more than like Peter, Star, and just Peter and Star did. So yeah. Also, I'm starting to lose my voice because I've been talking for 40 minutes, and we still have this many characters. We still have 10 characters to talk about. Oh my gosh, I'm a yapper. Anyways, we got Scary Girl next, and Scary Girl is kind of in the same boat as Ezekiel, where I didn't want to have her go on her arc yet, because I have big plans for her later. Obviously, y'all both know that I'm not done with Ezekiel and Scary Girl. They came with Chris. They basically are Chris's adopted children. Actually, they are. So he did adopt them both. So I don't know if I've revealed that yet, but that's literally going to be revealed in like episode 1 of the season 2. So that doesn't really matter that I spoiled it. But yeah, I think that she kind of, because I don't want her to go on her arc just yet, she kind of just became a prankster with N, which I think is fine. In fact, I'll bring N up here because they both are in the same boat. They were just comedic relief, kind of funny characters that made it pretty far. N had his thing with being like, oh, these guys are assholes and turning on them. While Scary Girl, which just got eliminated for being kind of just cooked by the strategy of other players right before the merge hit in that double elimination with Ezekiel. So I think both these pranksters go in the average tier, but I don't know if they're as high as Ezekiel. In fact, I think all three of them go below Patrice. I really, well, maybe not. I think N goes higher than these two. Scary Girl goes lower than Patrice and Fritz. I think that's good. Okay, then we have our second place person. This is Luz. Obviously, she made it very far. Luz was actually the winner pick I had since before I even knew the full cast. Like, Luz was a lock-in. Not only is she one of my favorite female characters, period, from one of my favorite shows ever, but Luz is just, like, she's main character material. Not only is she literally a main character, but, like, she's just got so much you can do with a character like this. But I just felt, in the end, I went back and forth so much. Well, not only did I feel like Monica deserved to win more, but I felt like Luz, it would be kind of bad for Luz's timeline if Luz already was the greatest witch when she goes into the Boiling Isles. That'd be kind of a bad thing. So, yeah. I think I'm actually going to put Luz and couldn't have been better. I really liked how I did the thing with Patrice, of course, but also with all of the friends, and how she literally is friends with, like, half of the cast. Like, good friends with half the cast. So I think that Luz was handled very well, and that if she ever does come back, she'll be handled even better now that she'll have all of her Boiling Isles experience. And I know exactly, if I do bring her back, I know exactly which time period or which part of the timeline that I'm going to bring her back in. And if I do, she's going to be a lot different character, because I'm thinking about bringing her back right in that, like, if you've ever watched Owl House, in that, like, season 3 episode 1 type area. So Depresso Expresso. Why did I say that? But then we have someone who actually is my favorite female character of all time, which is a wild thing to say. If you tried to ask me my favorite male character of all time, I could not tell you. But Marcy is my favorite female character of all time. That being said, I didn't really handle Marcy bad, but I think she's just kind of, ow, I just kicked the crap out of that. I think she's kind of just mid, again, with the average. Like, she was just, well, honestly, I could even go as far to say, now, again, remember, this is not me ranking how much I like the characters. Obviously, Marcy would go, like, here or here. But this is how much I think or how well I think I handled them. And I honestly am going to put her at the very, very top of could have been better. And that's because I personally feel that someone who's my favorite female character should have had way more spotlight than she did. I mean, her only real drama was with her and Luz obviously being freaking goofs, and then Toph not liking it. But that was way better for Luz and Toph than it was for Marcy. Marcy was just the autistic girl that pissed them off. You know, I can't say that. Never mind. I was about to say something, but it would be too personal. Anyways, yeah, no, I think Marcy just should have had more to do on her own. Than just kind of existing and making Toph pissed off, making Luz happy. So, yeah, if I ever do bring her back, she's going to be a lot bigger of a competitor and go on more of an arc, because she really didn't go on an arc. I feel like after this experience, she would go back and be exactly the same with nothing changing. And I feel like the only other character that's really like that wasn't a super early due, is like Luz, but that's kind of the point. It takes a lot to break Luz, and trust me, she'll get a lot. So yeah, we'll put Marcy and could have been better. Then we have Monica, and Monica is our winner of this season. But I think I'm going to put her. I think I'm actually going to move Chris up here and put Monica right here. I really like how I handled Chris, but with Monica, I think the only problem I have with her character, I think I handled her realistically. I think her love story outside the first 3 episodes, like we talked about with Izuku, but that's more for Izuku than Monica, was really good. I think she's a deserving winner with a good arc. She had good connections, a lot of which were really fleshed out, of being Izuku and Agatha's, not so much Fritz's. Luz definitely had very fleshed out ones like Toph, but also had friendships that we never really got to even see that much of, like, I don't know, Green Shadow and Kissy. Even Star, for example, who was definitely her first, like, best friend on the island. But I think Monica, her only real problem is that she kind of didn't do much in the late merge of the season for me. I feel like Luz, Toph, and Marcy's drama took up a lot of that. Obviously, the beginning of the merge was just strategic plays left and right. Then it was the Luz, Toph, and Marcy drama. Then it was Dipper running the game. And Monica kind of just sat there and took it. Of course, she had her thing trying to convince Luz. And I think in the final 4... Actually, I think in the final 5 is when Monica got good again. So I think it's anywhere between the middle of the merge. That area just she felt like she was just kind of there, and I didn't like that because I already knew my final 2 was Luz and Monica. So, yeah. I think that could have been better up until the final 5. And then the other thing is Agatha kind of feels like a pawn for her, and so did Fritz. Not a pawn, but kind of a shield. So I think that could have been a little better, but that's not really on her part. That's been the other two's part. But overall, I'll put Monica and handled great, because I still really like how I did her character and the conclusion to her character. Oh yeah, and one other thing, in episode 29, a lot of the game show characters, especially the ones that were like late game show characters, mainly Peter, Dipper, Luz, and Monica, they were just there. They didn't do anything. But people that had been eliminated, like Toph and Green Shadow, got way more than them, which I think was kind of bad. But I still love that episode. But yeah. Then we have Agent Peely. Now, with Agent Peely, I planned on doing some wildly different plotline with Agent Peely. Of course, I still planned on him being someone who infiltrated the show, but I planned on him making it probably final 5, final 4. In fact, I planned on him basically going on a Tom-type plotline, where instead of Tom and Jake getting together at the end, it'd be Peely and Trump becoming just a really strong friendship at the end. But after I really thought about the whole Trump thing, which we've already talked about, I decided to switch up Peely a lot, and that's where I made one of the best decisions for this, which was introducing the Hope and Jones, which then led to like Sky and stuff like that. So I think it was overall a really good decision what I did do. Peely himself, I think he got quite a good amount of screen time and lore time, despite getting eliminated literally second. And that's because, I mean, he had his whole thing where when everyone was in the holding cells and he was chained up when Chris was still going to kill him, because Chris was still insane at the beginning of the season. That's one of the things I love about Chris is after Chef died, obviously that humanized him a lot more, but he was still insane, and he slowly humanized and made stronger connections with like Peely, Hope, and Jones, and which is something I probably should have showed a little more, but also with especially Ezekiel and Scary Girl, as y'all will see later. But yeah, with Peely, I think that he had all of that. He had obviously episode 12 is named after him. It's named Peel. I don't know why episode 12 keeps getting so much spotlight. And then of course he had his thing with getting the reboot card. And he was really good in episode 28. He obviously was in 27, but that didn't matter too much. They obviously all appeared to fight Sen, or he did, along with Hope Jones. So he definitely had a very strong presence while not being in the game show, which I think is very good to make him not feel like a copy of Tom. And because of that, I think I'm actually going to put Peely right here. I'm not going to put him in, like, couldn't have been better, but I think he's pretty close, sitting with the head scientist and Monica. But we have 4 people left here, so let's go over them. Peter. I think Peter was, honestly, I think he's kind of average, not gonna lie. He made Final 4, but with Peter, he didn't really have a strong connection. He had in the entire merge, I should say. He definitely did, and we'll get to that strong connection later. But through the entire merge, he just kind of floated by, was really good at challenges, and just kind of existed. He aligned with Ashley a little bit, Dipper a little bit, Toph a little bit, all kinds of people, just trying, because his whole motto was just get in the game farther. He played how my dad would play. My dad, when it was on a season of Social Drama. So I think Peter was still pretty good. He just didn't have a lot of the drama. His only big, like, alliance, or not, it wasn't even a big alliance, but it was his only, like, real alliance that I'd say wasn't just for getting further in the game, was with Tails. And he had his whole double immunity idol thing, and obviously they played Ashley and had Applejack. So I think he was a lot better in the pre-merge than the merge, which is why, again, I think he was probably, when we were at the Final 4, he was the least wanted contestant to win the season. So yeah, I think I'll overall put Peter in, honestly, like, right here. Well, he can go above Blake. Again, the average tier is sticking out so much, but it is how it is. Or it is what it is. That's how you say that. Plus, it's about to get another member, because we have Star. And Star, not gonna lie, was nothing more than Luz's friend, who was only there because I wanted Luz to have a friend, 1, to be like, okay, this is Luz's first friend, the start of many, right? But 2, I'm not gonna lie, the main reason I added Star here is because I like her show, but I put her here to be a shield for Luz. I won't lie, because obviously if Star wasn't here, Luz would have gotten eliminated, and if that happened, that would have sucked. So Star was only really here for a shield, but I think that she would have been kind of a comedic relief. She obviously had her magic with Luz in that, I think it was the Tug of War episode. So she had little moments like that, but again, I don't think she made it very far. I can't really remember when she got out, but I know it was probably like early to middle pre-merge section. So yeah, I think I'll put her kind of in the same boat as Jax, but a little less so. In fact, should I put her with Sen, in front of Sen? I'll put her in front of Sen. And I think should I move somebody up to pretty good? Because I feel like this tier being so bloated is kind of weird. I think we'll move these 3 up to pretty good. I think that looks better. Yeah. Because, like, this isn't that big of a difference. And also, I think you should go back here, but it's behind these 2. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, but we have 2 people left, and I have 3 minutes until I have to reset the recording a second time. Plus, I still have to reveal the logo. So, yeah, we'll get to these. So, Tails, obviously the person I was talking about with Peter, is probably the person with, I want to say, the least impact on the season. I don't remember exactly, but I don't even think Bro got to use his idol. I think somebody else used it. Maybe he did. No, he did. He flushed his idol, I'm pretty sure. He had the idol that can only be used on people besides him. And yeah, no, I think Tails was just there. I didn't really use, like, any major plot points. He was just an early strategic player, the one friend of Peter, and I hate to do it again, but another person that I'm actually gonna put in average. Well, actually, I could put him in could have been better, but I feel like there's not much I could have really done with him. He's a nerd, but he's not one with, like, a crazy good personality to use. Not that Tails isn't that he is a bad character. He's the second best Sonic character after Shadow. But And you know what? I think I will put him in could have been better. I think I still could have made something up for him outside of just being Peter's ally and then freaking dying and then having no plot after that. Literally no plot after that. But yeah, he just went home and then never appeared again. But Toph is our last one, and I have a minute and a half to talk about Toph before I have to reset. So let's speedrun Toph. All right, Toph in the early game was part of that whole huge girls alliance, and she obviously was friends with Ezekiel, which went well. She made it very far, I think even to the final 6, maybe final 7, and she which is pretty impressive for her because even though she can earthbend, she's blind. She had her whole thing with Luz, Marcy, and herself, which was obviously a big thing in the merge. And I think overall she was executed pretty well. She also was one of the people who appeared in episode 29 and actually mattered a little bit with her powers being an integral part in the plan, with her having to protect Chris in the portal, making the little island, stabbing Malik a few times, and things like that. What else can I say about her in these like 30 seconds that I have? I think overall, I'm going to put Toph, and that's Trump, I'm going to put Toph in the pretty good tier just behind Izuku, or in the handled great tier, because I feel like she just, and also I want to do this. I feel like that, well, no I don't, because she can't talk. But I feel like that's where Toph belongs, and that's going to be the list, but I have 4 seconds, so now it'll cut to the logo reveal, so see you in a second. And here it is. This is the Total Drama Multiverse Season 2 logo. I will say one of the letters on here is still subject to change depending on what happens at 5 o'clock today. Not spoiling what that is, but that could change things. Again, y'all can look at the M, the U, the L, the T, the I, the V, the E, the R, the Z, S. Whoops, kind of just spoiled that that's a Z, but I mean, it's kind of obvious. Or the E. And if you guess any of those, I will heart your comment and get you a shout out. So I'm going to leave this on screen so that you can look at it a little longer. One thing I will say is that there is no way in hell that anybody is getting the U or the V. There's just no way that happens. I think the only ones that I could realistically see, if people get any at all, is maybe the R, the Z, the E. The E is probably the easiest one. The second E, I mean. Yeah, the RZE is pretty easy, as well as maybe the T. I don't think people will get the M, or the L, or the I, or the first E, but I guess we'll see. Oh, bars? Hold on. Oh yeah, also I did try to add a 2 to this, but I just decided to put full fan-made season 2 at the bottom, because I couldn't really fit a 2, and not a lot of the franchises that I used for this can fit a 2. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this ranking video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all disagree with anything, feel free to put it in the comments below, and until next time, that's gonna do it for Total Drama Multiverse. See ya.